So I just want to start this off with saying that the most important thing I can tell you is to trust your intuition and be brave and go into the unknown. So you need to think like you're playing a game of chess that happens to be many games of chess where you are teaching something how to behave. So a kid, for the first 3 years of their life, literally just copies everything around them. And then people put them around things with really, really, really low intelligence because I don't know why. I don't even care. Not worth my time. But the point is, if they had them listening to Bach, and if they had them listening to Beethoven and watching documentaries about the best minds that ever lived, and if they were reading the books from the best minds, or having those books read to them in the first 3 years, they would basically just be guaranteed to win, right? Because everybody else, they're at the fundamental core is just running on like used motor oil for gas. It's just not gonna work for very long. Let's see how loud that is. That sounds about perfect. So it's like a kid. If you're thinking about it, everything you say to a kid is going to shape it. So you can say, I love you just the way you are. But that's not good. I love you just the way you are. And if you wanted to change, I would love you the same amount. That, right? So I'm going to use some humor. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or be offensive or anything. I'm trying to drive a point across. I might reference some things that have been said in the group because that would be the best things I could reference so that somebody can get the point. If somebody's struggling, you don't throw a rock at them. You give them a life raft, you give them something. It might be a little torn up and sweaty, but it is what it is. I don't know why I said that, but I liked it. You gotta go with your intuition. You got a weird thing, go with it. So, to drive my point across, why people suck. The tone, this is the most important part. Do you see all of these? If you pick any one of these, other than custom and typing something in, you suck. I'm just going to be real with you. Because everybody out here, they'll spend no effort in the beginning. Oh, I should use that. And I write things in capital. It makes it easier for me to see. Don't put the effort in and go above. To put into perspective what I had to do to make this work, I thought I had a 3-day bookable trial. So I'm like, I'm going to write as many books as I can. I'm going to publish all of them to Amazon. I don't even know what it costs to put them on Amazon. I thought it was free. My mom said it was like $6. I don't know. I'm not worried about it, right? So I just wrote book after book, and every single time I had an intuitive genius thought and I didn't feel like writing a book about it and getting up and doing it, I stopped what I was doing and I wrote the book. To the point I got a blister on my left eye. It started like, I don't know if blister is the right word, but it started like swelling and looked like it was kind of getting like infected. I'm not trying to gross anybody out. Today my rib basically popped out of place, and it started happening yesterday because I've been writing so many books. I've just been so, like, my story, give you a little bit of the story, you know, because it's important. So do you see how I transitioned that and the audio naturally ended, so then I stopped it so that when it's ready for me to start it, I'll hit it and it'll sync up with the audio because it's part of the field, and I just trust and I follow. But I'm the one who sets up what I want, and then I get information, but it feels like my mind's like, that's not, like, it feels like I want to control it, and I want to, like, take a block of ice and chip it away to be this thing when I could just turn it into water, have it become a rain cloud, have the rain cloud move with the wind. Ooh, Chris should say that. That's beautiful. Wow. Add into the superconscious work. All right, Dalton. You're the sage of great benefit. Maybe I'll add that to my name. I don't know. But it's like part of me just wants to, like, earn it, work really hard, do all this stuff, believe. So what I want to say is you can keep your beliefs. Now I could give you a quick demo. In under 5 minutes I could teach you everything you need to know about how to do this. But if I don't give you the stuff beforehand, you're not going to do it. It's like Chris's whole thing with the marketing and building a domino belief, and right? You build that domino belief, you're building a belief. And you reiterate it, right? Because it's important, and they're going to remember it if you say it a bunch of times. Especially if you say it differently. So what I wanted to say was, too many people get stuck. So I'll go back into my bookle story and why I wrote so many books and why I got so crazy about it. And crazy in a good way. If you're not obsessed, you're average, right? You know, if you're not obsessed, then that's bad. But there's, like, certain things you probably shouldn't be obsessed with, right? Like extreme skydiving while on fire. Like, I would not say that is something you should be obsessed with, but, you know, you go live your life. You're a creator. You be out there and create your time. It's all love. I love you. Flying skydiving man on fire. But yeah, people don't do the stuff that they need to do. I signed up for Bookle. I had 3 days. The 4th day, I was still able to do it, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, okay, well, they must have glitched. Like, maybe, like, I wrote so many books and they're just letting me keep do it. I don't know what's going on. Ooh, am I talking too loud? I wonder if I'm talking too loud. I don't want it to be clipping. Am I talking too loud? I'm probably talking too loud. Sometimes. Start singing. So what you need to think about, my account is going to reference all of the things you give it for information as its database. What do you want it to know? How do you want it to write? How many chapters do you want? I'm gonna, you know what? Write 256 chapters on the So let me do a little teaching here. Do you see why I did that? So logically I want to say like 8 different chapters, right? Logically. But intuitively it's like, say that. Now say the next thing. What's the next thing? Now I kind of feel like I should go up. Okay, what have I already addressed? They don't put the effort in and go above and beyond when needed in the beginning to make everything simple later on because it's automatic. They didn't learn the nonsense. They didn't. So everybody else has all these bad habits. They don't. Everybody else has these bad habits, but they don't. Because they couldn't learn it wrong because they studied the absolute best and questioned. Right? Now, logically, I want to go into it more than that. But I'm trying to... It's like, imagine if you were baking a cake, but it was like abstract, and it wasn't a cake, and like, it was actually a universe. Cake. And you were trying to just give pieces to something that was gonna like MacGyver it all together. Like, so the thing is, like I said earlier, people will not trust themselves and their intuition. And I'm trying to point out the moments where I have an intuition thing and I go, I should do this. But logically it says this. And you want to have a good balance, but I usually just follow my intuition strictly. Why does this seem to be the PREV? I don't care. I don't care. You don't need to be able to spell good. I think I spelled that right. And now I'm checking if I spelled it. I want to look it up so bad. Am I good enough to make this video? Like, it's definitely out there. You know, and it's like you're talking for too long, you went too long in all these things, you didn't even finish your story, you know, like, I think they want to know about that, and you're not really giving them the info. You could have taught it in 5 minutes, you said, it's taking you half an hour or something, you know, and it's just beautiful. Right? How has popular music influenced culture, and more importantly, how has it created a subculture or counterculture? See? That wasn't logical. I don't know. I'm not trying to define everything. I think part of that was logical, part of that was intuitive. So think about it. What would the tone be for this? Let's do professional. Yeah. Why people suck. Do you get why people suck? Relaxed. Yeah. Do you get why people suck? Who do you want it to be? Do you want it to be Napoleon Hill? I'm gonna drop some gems here. Napoleon Hill. After writing Think and Grow Rich. You know, does that make any logical sense? That I would pick Napoleon Hill after writing Think and Grow Rich? I just thought of it as do you see what I'm saying? Like, what is the reason for the decline of intelligence in society, and has the intelligence just changed? Do you see that? How I'm guiding it. What is the reason for the decline of intelligence in society? Okay, now I could say give me 5 different things. I'm not going to. I don't care. Because I said, write me 256 chapters. Captors. See, it's going to write me 256 captors. Did I spell that right? Sorry. So now I'm going to do a little teaching. See, because you got to flow with it, man. And you can keep your story. I got to turn on the water. I don't want to freeze. So now you have the sound of running water, and then I set a timer so that I wouldn't forget to turn the water back on because I didn't want that to be super distracting, and I even turned down the heat when it's like -30 out. It's going to take multiple hours to get it back up to where it was, but I'm not worried about it. I'm just staying in the end result. So teaching, that's what I was doing. Why people suck. Let's go back to the first point. They don't put in the effort in and go above and beyond when needed in the beginning. That's the whole book. The premise of the whole book is right there. Do you see that? That is the whole book. Right there. It's like if you took a Prince song, the whole song is one sentence. Now, you don't need to write like that, but it's a thinking model. So I want you to acknowledge any resistance that pops up. And if it gets to the point where you feel like you can't do it, do the magnetic alignment again. Do the inner fire. I really like magnetic alignment. I like inner fire too, right? I like all the meditations, but do your visualizations in the morning. That's the most important thing, really. But so think about it. I'm going to ask you some questions. Why do people suck? They are taught to be selfish and not consider other people. To be selfish and not other people. Pretty good. That's a good point. Are there any other points I could make? Do you see how this has kind of been an arduous process, and it's kind of like jumping into the unknown? If I write, instead of why people suck, let's say I came up with a bad title, like why the decline in postmodern civilization. Do you see how that just sucks? Do you see how that just sucks? You can feel the difference in that and how it's going to be sounding like some academic writes it, you know? And I'm not trying to read something an academic wrote. They're an academic. I'm not interested. No interest. There's a couple of them out there, you know, Robert Flint and, you know, whatever. But, why people suck. I forgot what the title was. You gotta be good to yourself. So if you want to keep your resistance, you can. If you go into something, you go, you know, I'm just not that type of person. I'm just not good with tech. Do you know what happened with my tech? I can't screen record the normal way because I moved my capture folder and I thought that it would just create another one and I haven't been able to fix it. So that's a thing. That is an actual thing, right? So now, I was like trying to figure out how I was going to do it. I called 3 different people. One of them answered and said, yeah, I'll call you back in 40 minutes and then we'll do a Facebook video chat. And then based on me screen sharing, she can record it. And then that's what I was going to do. I have a thing that I use to videotape me and my son playing video games. And it's funny because I actually haven't used it to record video games with my son yet. I've just used it to play video games with my mom and brother, you know, because I usually take my son out to the arcade, you know, and they don't have an HDMI slot in the arcade machines that I go to, like Street Fighter 2. I wish I had a Streets of Rage one. So let's go back into this. Do you see how that's flowing? So what is the most important thing I could write in this box right now to get the end result I want? What do I want? I want 256 chapters of unbelievable, you cannot put it down. Make this book Did that make logical sense? No, I just did it. It's like, write that in, okay. Part of creation is like, there's a long period of time in the grand scheme where you're just kind of like falling. Like you fall in love with somebody, you're falling, right? So you're falling, and then at the last minute you get caught. Or maybe you don't, but you might. So there you go. Now I feel like I should teach a little bit. I hope I'm not going too long, but I want to make it comprehensive. What can you do to succeed? Do you have a favorite TV show? I'm going to write one book today. How can you make a goal that's reasonable? How can you have it write your story for you? How can you use this to the level that nobody else would use it and get the most out of it? Now, I really hope I haven't hurt anybody's feelings. In all honesty, I have wrote several books with the different tones that aren't custom, right? But out of the 100 books I have made, and I'm a little over 100 now, probably like 109. Maybe 9 of the 109 I used one of the ones that they had, and it just fit. It was more of an experiment. It was more of, I'm throwing this. So what target age do I want? Make the book irresistible. That's a good one. Unique, and most importantly, have a serious message. Delivered in a way using wit. Now let's analyze that. Do you see how I'm in rapport now with the process? Can you feel the energy of it? Like when I need to stand up, I stand up, do a little stretch over here, do this little thing, move my body around a little bit, smile, change my posture, think what I want to think, right? So what the heck did I even write? Make the book irresistible, unique, and most importantly have a seriously important message. Do you realize everybody's going to want the exact prompt that I used here? That means I need to remember to copy it. I guess I could just write it here and someone could rewrite it and put it in if I didn't. So at least there's that. That way at least I have an out and there's not so much tension, which means I'll probably forget. But nobody will write it, and they'll all be stuck. And there'll be 5 people on a boat, and they'll all drown. Because only 2 people could have made it. And I should have stayed back to play the bongos. Drink coconut milk. You know, I think I'm going to keep going. I think I'm going to help them out. What? Just go with it. Great sage. Why is this book important to the reader? And how will it change their whole life? How will it get better? And what temporary storms will the reader have to endure? So do you see how I wrote that? Don't even know if I spelled temporary right. Jeez, I'm questioning everything. I'm so perfect. You just gotta do it. Like, I go for what I want and things pop up and then I recode it. And it's that simple. And if there's... And I just flow. That's it. I go for things I want. I recode it and I flow and I make sure I do my morning routine every day. Now, my morning routine is excessive. Just visualizing for the first 15 minutes on Core 4. Loving your life. Having a healthy body. Being the predominant creator of your life, meaning you control how you feel. That's what that means. It might not make sense, but it'll make sense to you. And living your true nature and purpose. If you could only focus on one of them, I would say true nature and purpose. Like, if you can just do that. If you can do that every day, don't care when, even for 30 seconds, you succeeded. You gotta set the bar low, and then you gotta deliver. And if you feel like over-delivering, go and over-deliver, right? How does that reference the beginning? They don't put the effort in and go above and beyond when needed in the beginning. So the reason I say only do 30 seconds is because if you do 30 seconds, you'll do 3, 4, 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe you'll do an hour, 2 hours, maybe you'll do 5 minutes, and then you'll get distracted and you'll get reminded of it and go, oh, that was really fun. You go back to do it. Even if you only did 30 seconds, it's not the amount of time that matters, it's building the habit. It's building the structure. It's about getting it to be something that is normal for you to do at a regular interval. Because once you have that, you already won. Oh, what did I just say? It's not about how long you do things that the future self you want to. So there's some things that can go wrong on the other part when you go past this. If you're trying to generate a book cover and you can't sit there and wait for a minute without moving the page, it's going to punish you by not ever loading. If the book's taking too long to write, why do you need a book done in 30 minutes? If it took 5 hours for it to write, I wouldn't care. What I care about is it's the best book. Because in 5 hours, I'm still not going to have it up on Amazon. Right? That they would be in or another way of saying feel how the future self feel. So if I said reverence, if I said reference Chris Duncan. So Chris Duncan actually writes under Chris M. Duncan. Pretty sure. I could check that. I'm not going to. I feel like an idiot now. I should probably check that. Chris M. Duncan. Let's see what pops up. Yep, apparently that's what it is. Okay. Best selling author of. See, I didn't need to write best selling author, but that was in my mind, and I was gonna make the point you don't need to write that, but I hadn't made the point yet. So when I went unconsciously and just let my body go without me thinking, it put that in there. Your Does that make any logical sense? No. Sometimes you just get nonsense thoughts. It'd be better to throw all your nonsense thoughts and intuitive thoughts in than it would be to not have any intuitive thoughts. Just for the record. They don't trust. Truts. Their intuition. Where I don't think that's necessarily nice to say. That's what popped into my head. Right? Like, too concerned with following wonder what that man's name is. I'm not screaming it super consciously, don't worry. Probably shouldn't scream it super consciously, just for the record. You know, probably not good. And then you almost broke character. It teaches you to what's the word I was looking for? Regurgitate false information over and over without questioning it makes you dull and scared. People will make fun of you because their parents are drunks and let them watch Disney Channel all day and never talk to them. Okay, that's pretty good. So I think I'm good here and can hit next, but I'm not going to because I need to copy it all. Nope, there's more to add. What else could I add? Write it in a tone of optimism. I don't know. And faith for the future, because we have been through so much and we have learned and we have decided to change the stories we tell kids, because those who tell the stories control the narrative and shape society. I don't know if they'll know that's a Plato reference, so reference Plato, Bruce Lee, Socrates. That's lowercase o, Socrates to you, mister. I'm so cool in real life. And have them discuss the main points and what they disagree and agree upon and what they would find useful out of all of the classical mess. I don't know. what they agree upon, disagree, and agree. There we go. Upon what they would find useful out of all the classical mess. What really matters in life? Being yourself and creating life. Your highest desires actually are your highest good, and if it wasn't, I don't know if this is true. Maybe Chris could elaborate on this because I've only heard Napoleon Hill's thing on it. Hey, maybe I'll get Chris to talk to me about it. Being yourself and creating your life, your highest desires actually are your highest good, and if it wasn't, you would want to do it. If something isn't possible for you, your brain won't even let you imagine it as a possibility. Napoleon Hill said something along those lines. I don't exactly know. I think we're at 40 minutes. I'm about to wrap it up. I want to apologize if I've taken too long and drawn my points out too much. Main point summary: trust your intuition, get something done, set a low barrier, consistently succeed, do your morning meditations. But if you want to keep your resistance, you can. Just know that you can keep your resistance. Do you want to keep your resistance or not? It's up to you. Oh my god, logically my brain was like, I need to write more, and intuitively my brain was like, I need to push the button right now. And then I was about to push it and I was like, hey, everybody needs all of this stuff. Oh, my ribs flaring. Oh, I made it 40 minutes. I must be doing pretty good. Who is your audience? 12-year-olds who are sick of the world, think adults get it and want to raise their kids to not be idiots. I don't know if you'll let me say the word idiot in there. See, now I normally would... So now this is like the last bit of it. I'm pushing myself a little further than I should. Oh. I guess I could just take a minute and edit it out. Oh, I could I guess I could pause it. I want to just take a moment to acknowledge you've made it 44 minutes into a video of me teaching, and that I'm proud of you and you're a success. And if Chris ever doing a meditation, he's like, think of somebody that's proud of you. You should probably think of me. So the only thing I added, right, 256 chapters, you know, audience 12-year-olds who are sick of the world, think adults are stupid and don't get it and want to raise their kids to not be idiots. Now watch this. I worked! Now, as much as I wanted to switch the page when I did that, is it going to write 256 chapters? I can't tell you. Nope, it's not going to. That's part of it sometimes, right? I asked it one time to write 55 chapters and it did. It really did. I think the problem with it is it draws computer power to process everything that it does, and when you switch it off of the book tab to something else, like play music on your phone and listen to that, but don't switch between your tabs to go and do anything on Bookle, or it's not gonna work. But even, I think if I didn't write 256 chapters in that one spot, it would have actually wrote 256 chapters, honestly, at the end. Like, so look at these, they all suck. Yeah, that sucks. Trains. Respect, brah. One thing you can do, I don't even worry about what they write half the time. The power of empathy. So I just hold down. Just keep hitting it. Why people suck. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one, Dan. Path to Redemption. So I'll take this one, I'll move it. I'm going to try one more because they're finally giving me something good. It's thinking. The pursuit of meaning. See? The power of compassion. That's okay. Why you should read this book immediately. Make it as convincing as boom. So now you can come back here, you can add a note to all of it. Like, just flow with it. You have to stay on the page. The moment you change it, the moment I switched and turned on Bach was the moment that it stopped working. It was either that or because I put 256 chapters right in the second section, not the first section. Right? The reason I did 256 is 256 is a programming thing that when it hits 256 it crashes. So if you play Donkey Kong and you get to 256 level, it crashes. Something like that, right? Now a lot of these are the same thing, the power of connection. So how can I make those work? The power of connection, why it makes life more fulfilling. I don't even care. I'm just getting it done. Boom. So after I do that, I click. If you type it in here and then you click add to note and you write this big note and you like click off, sometimes it'll change the text here. I'm trying not to make it confusing, right? So I'm going to make this the third chapter. See what happened? The power of connection, why it gives life new meaning. Man, I've been watching too much Chris Duncan. Everything's going wrong when I'm trying to do it live. Memeing. That's funny. Oh my god. Throwing shade at the man himself. No. I wouldn't do that. The influence of popular music on culture. Go from 1800 to 2023. That is exactly 223 years if you didn't know. I think. I don't know. I didn't do 224 because of the numerological significance. No, I didn't do 224 because it's recording, right? Okay, it's still recording. Good. I didn't forget to put it back on. Because 2024 hasn't finished. There's no point in having it try and search 2024. If If we were like 6 months into it, I might. So what was the power of compassion? Why no one can use it? So I guess if you're gonna, the power of compassion. So I'm gonna go there. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna try and make this work. See, now I'm testing it. So like, what is he doing? Add note. It didn't add the note. It did not add the note. Do you see that? Watch this. It's gonna stop being there. See that? So if you want to change the title, you need to move it first. Oh, that was a good one. Wow. GFSD, bro. That's good. That's how you spell good where I come from. That's how you spell good. Oh, okay, there we go. I'm trying to be a good. So I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you don't write a note under every one, you suck. For purposes of illustration, I'm going to suck, though. I'm not going to write a note in every one. I give you reasons, I give you a story, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. Unleashing your intuition. Wow, I love it when it does that. If something goes wrong, sometimes it actually went right. Exactly how it's supposed to. Reference Chris Duncan. What did I call him before? Chris M. Duncan. Chris Duncan's not a guy. And M. Duncan's not a guy. I love when my brain turns jello. The AI might think Chris M. Duncan. If I say Chris Duncan one place and Chris M. Duncan, they might reference a different Chris Duncan. Selfishness versus consideration for others. Why people... You can literally just put... So look, what's the first chapter? The trap of mediocrity. Why people fall in the trap of mediocrity emotionally. Boom, done. Do you see how many of those chapters just disappeared? Do you see any sort of like upsetness? Do you see what I mean? Like, I'm going in it. If something goes wrong, it was probably... Oh, the last chapter's blank. No, that was the 13th floor, not the 11th floor. So the main things you know from Buckle, if you want your resistance, you can keep it. When I started, I had 3 days trial, and I'm like on day 8 now. And I've basically just gone gung-ho, make as many books because I thought I was going to lose the books. And after I made well over 50 books, I started making covers for them, and I figured out everything. I explained how to make covers in the group, and I thought I explained it in a very concise, easy to understand, and gave a good prompt. But apparently, I need to just show you. But the thing is, if I show you what's going to happen... Do you see how this is going? Do you see how it's right there? It's writing that book. Do you see how this little thing prompts up? Your book is currently being generated. So if it's trying to generate the best book possible, and I'm over here and I click AI and I go, write me a dog book cover with fire, flamethrowers, love, and Chinese food. And then I hit generate, Could you see how that could mess up this? So that isn't even related to anything. I imagine that by generating this, I imagine even by typing it, it might influence it, to be honest. But by hitting generate, it might change the stuff in here as it's generating, for one. I know I'm kind of giving you all the information on it, you know. I haven't summed it down to just the nuts and bolts yet. So you sit here and you wait. You get a page. You do the whole thing without changing it. You let it generate the whole book. When it's done generating the whole book, type in the prompt I give you. It's got Play-Doh in it. Just use it. Just use that prompt. Hit generate. Sit there. You never change a tab. The moment you change a tab, you messed up. I'm just going to be real with you. I spent all this time, I did all this stuff. That's the common error. It's just... Do you see how this feels like forever? At least to me it feels like forever. But it's already on chapter 5. It's been like 2 minutes. Do you know how long it would take to write one chapter? We live in a world where mediocrity seems to be the norm. I love how it moves down. An invisible force that holds us back from reaching our full potential. It is a quiet and subtle trap, one that lures us into a life of complacency and conformity. Do you know why it says complacency and conformity? Because Earl Nightingale says to be a coward is to be a conformist, and Earl Nightingale was heavily influenced on Napoleon Hill, and very quite possibly, I've read a lot of people, and the more that I read and the more that I learn, the more I realize that I only read the best now. I don't care if it's a bestseller. I don't care about any of these things. I don't care who's endorsed it. If it's not in the top 1% of 1% of 1% of books ever written that there is access to, I don't want to read it. Right? How can you prime your brain to get in the right emotion? How can you... Do you need a friend over? Do you have a friend that would be supportive of it and help you out, that isn't going to enable you or be codependent, or, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to honestly look at it. And I'm just throwing all these things out there hoping something sticks. Unleashing your intuition. So I'm going to sit here this whole time in tension while it writes. I'm going to let it write the whole book. And then I'm going to add a cover. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do that. So I'm going to pause really quick so I can get the prompt. Actually, I'm going to wait until the book's finished being generated to get the prompt. Do you see that? I hope that was a learning moment for you. I hope that helped. I hope that drove the point across. Look, you might write 5 books that are terrible. It might take you 15 books to figure it out. It's not going to. If you just follow the steps I laid out for you, you write something, you follow your intuition, you're honest, you go with it when it feels uncomfortable, and on every chapter you write something, you give it clear instructions and give it a custom writing style. One thing you can do is you can really look at people in your industry and look at their chapters. You can go on Amazon, you can look at their chapters, and you can use that for an inspiration. You know, but ultimately it's you against yourself, and do you want it more? Then the resistance wants you to not have it. That's really it. 59, 51. Okay, we're back on. So to summarize all the most important points, just only write your book. Don't switch. If you switch, it's going to mess up. If it takes you 3 or 4 times to get it to work to do something, that is 1,000 times faster than it would take you to draw the cover or write the book. Like, just realize that. So I put in a bunch of nonsense here earlier. It's not there anymore. Don't remember what I wrote. I'll put this up here. I told everybody, here's the best, and it was the best one I've used out of all of them. Don't worry, I'll put it up there. I'll put it in the chat. Has anybody used this? Did anybody generate any covers like I said? I'm curious, because I don't think anybody did. So now, let's say I want to switch over to here. Let's say I want to switch over to here. Let's say I want to do this. It's good. Do you see how fast this is going? The moment I switch it over to something else, it's going to go the speed of a snail. It is running off of your system's processing power. If you have a really slow computer, go to the library. Figure it out. Do you want it or not? One thing I like to do is I like to flip between the pictures before it's made it yet. It's just something I like to do. Wow, look at how good that book cover is. If I click right here, do you know what happens? I'll lose the book cover. So you can't do that. That's a good book cover. That's a good book cover. That's not... What do you want in a book cover? Okay, that works for me then. I might have just... Aha! See, it stopped showing that at this far away. Oh, at least I just didn't see it. That's what it was. So now I can see what they are. If I click anywhere on the screen other than right here or right here, it's going to stop this. Does this look captivating? Does it look brilliant? Does it look good? Yes. Should it be my book cover? No, it's terrible. If you're looking at book covers, you want something to stop you, and you want something to make you go, I want to look at that. I want to know more. That's the one. That's the one. Do you see how intellectually and logically you would pick this one? But do you see how this one's better? This one's better in every single way. 100% of the time you're going to pick the one that's not the best. You have to go with your intuition. So let's say... Okay, let's say I wanted to redo that. So out of the 4, pick the one that you like the most or regenerate it. If you like one that's kind of close in the style, select it. If you hit generate and it's not working, hit the home button. Don't just sit here and look at it. Be in the middle of doing something. Every time I do that, I get up and I do a little stretch to the side. I do a little spin. I move my arms a little bit. I do something. I close my eyes. I meditate. I focus on my energy. I do something else that's not related. And I get lost in doing that. And when I realize that I'm in the middle of writing a book, I come back and it's like that. See? Now, is that a better cover than the one I chose? In what areas is it better? Now, I didn't flip through all of them like I did the first time. That's not required. I just like to do it. That's the one. I have a rule. If I find the one, I select it. This is going to confuse everybody. Don't know what to tell you. This is how I think. If I find the one, I select it, but I still look at all of the options. That's the one. Oh, that... Because I said that's the one as I hit click, it made me in my brain think that that was the one. Do you see how that one is the one? That one's a good one too. Oh my gosh. How do I pick? Do I pick logically? Do I use... That is still the one. I just know it. I know it in my heart. That's the one most people would pick. That's the one that's the best in terms of captivating an audience. That's the one that appears to be the best. And that's the one that is the most magical. But how does this fit why people suck? It doesn't need to. One of the books I made, I put Godzilla on the front cover, and it's like how to stop the ruin of society. Like it's related without being related, right? It is related, right? Because Godzilla rampages. But see, and if I didn't trust my intuition, how many people here would have picked this one? How many people would pick this one? Nobody, just me. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being honest. Maybe you would pick it. Who cares? I really do care and would like to know. So let's say I pick this one. Let's say I pick this one. Okay. Now let's say I take this and I just go, I don't think I wrote love in there. Man, I forgot love. Love's important. And let's say, okay, intuition says do 3. Exclamation points. Let's try that. Because I selected this one, it's going to go closer to this one, but it's going to reference the last one. In terms of what elements do they both have that made it successful. I swear to God, I guess you shouldn't swear to God. I think the proper term is praying. I've just been doing it wrong for years. Then when I stare at it, it moves way fast. Oh my gosh, if it wasn't for that text. If you look at the text and you read it, it explains like programming language and how AI thinks, kind of. You won't understand what I mean by that. I probably should have just not explained that. That's the one. If I had to pick any of them, I'd still pick the first one I picked, though. Yes. Yes, that's the one. So now what happens if I go and I click home right now? What happens? What happens? I would show you, but you save. It's still going. I think I have a 2-hour limit. I'm basically done. My body was kind of giving up at me at the end, but I just took a little break and came back to it. Okay. So then you can come down here. If I click this, I can change the... See that? Just trust your intuition, go with it. That's all I'm going to tell you to do. That's it. It's that simple. Now, am I going to... that doesn't... I just said trust your intuition, go with it. So you better listen, or you're going to be a hypocrite. Oh, that's one of those manipulation tactics. I guess it's a persuasive tactic. It just depends on if you're a good person or a bad person. Dalton, I can be whoever I want to be. I don't even know that's how you spell his name. Norman McDonald. That's my name now on this book. My name in real life is Dalton the Great Sage. Do you see, like, if I could pick any of them, I'd pick this one. Maybe that's not the best one. That's the one I would pick. To break it down, it's got the love, it's got the person in the abstract, it's got the that dove, it's got the eye. It's got like kind of like the yin yang. It's got the flower of life. It's got the cosmos, and it's got the reader right there. That's where they are, and they're walking into the. Well, I can't tell you what this is. That wouldn't be fair. Sorry. I can't tell you everything. I mean, unless you ask me. But you wouldn't need to ask me if you already knew. Now, when you do print this as a PDF, when you do save this, it's going to make this kind of see-through. Haven't figured out how to get rid of this. You can delete these, right? If you want to delete that and put something else on there, that's on you, right? You can delete it. You'd have to send it to somebody. They would have to do it. I'm not going to walk you through any of those steps. I'm not spending any of my time doing that. Did I make my points clear? Do you understand that if you want the resistance, you can keep it. If you don't want it, you can drop it. It's up to you. Be yourself. Be super conscious. And most importantly, live with passion. Goodbye for now, friends.